Boom! Hey guys, it's Harry from Inside Boxing Brain, and yes, you already know what time it is. We are back for another video. Today's video is a breakdown of tomorrow night's fight between Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Smith. Now in this video, we're going to give a full breakdown, a full prediction, and we're going to talk about a few of the key pieces of information that have led me to believe why I think the outcome is going to be what it's going to be. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the like button, and drop me a comment in the comment section below. You know it always helps with the algorithm going up, so much appreciated. Now, to jump into this fight, my initial thoughts when it first got announced was that this is going to be an absolute whitewash. Chris Eubank Jr. is definitely going to beat him, was my initial thought. And the reason why I felt that is because I thought Chris Eubank was a fresher, fitter, younger fighter. Now that was before I really did my research on the careers of these two fighters. And I also looked at the last few fights that they've had, and I tried to, from that information, deduce who I think is currently the most competitive in the division out of those two men. Now, it's worth noting that there's only 1 year of age gap between the two men. Chris Eubank is 33 and Liam is 34. So if you want to look at who's the fresher fighter, you can't just look at age, because age doesn't necessarily always give you the bigger picture. It only gives you a very narrow scope. What you've got to do is look at their careers. And you have to say that having looked at both of their careers, in my opinion, I still think that Chris Eubank Jr. is the fresher fighter. Now that doesn't take away from the fact that Liam Smith has fought better opposition and he's been a world champion. So in terms of the momentum and in terms of who's got the more gravitas and the more sort of weight behind them, you have to say that Liam Beefy Smith is definitely the favourite in that sense. But yes, Chris Eubank is the fresher fighter. If you look at his fight, even though he is an all-action fighter, he has never taken much damage. He's never been knocked down and he's never been knocked out. So in the last few performances, the one that I really looked at for Liam Smith was the Canelo fight. And the reason why I picked the Canelo fight is because that was also a legacy-defining fight. And this fight is a legacy-defining fight as well. Both men come from boxing families. Both men have got a lot of reputation, a lot of pride, and their family names on the line. So if I consider all of these angles when making a prediction, I have to look at it from the wider angle in terms of who brings what to the table. Now, yes, you can say that Chris Eubank is a volume fighter and he throws punches in bunches. He'll never just throw a single jab or a single right hand. Even though under Roy Jones Jr. he is trying to use his boxing ability a little bit more, and personally I'm not a big fan of it. Chris Eubank Jr. is his father's son, and it's in his genetic makeup to go to war in the ring and really throw it down and leave it all on the line. In terms of boxing IQ, you have to say that Liam Smith has got the better boxing brain. In terms of his boxing ability to find range, ping out combination punches and then go back into range, even work the body, he is definitely a much more all-round better boxer. And yes, this is a boxing match, but we are talking about the fight game, and there will become a point in this fight where I think Chris Eubank Jr. will revert straight back to type as soon as he realises that his boxing ability isn't going to actually help him beat Liam Smith. I feel like Liam Smith is going to be too tactile. He's going to be able to move in and out of range and really make Chris Eubank Jr. struggle to try and get close, to let those big combination punches go. And if Eubank Jr. tries to just fight behind that jab and ping it out and do his posturing and his dancing in the ring, I don't think it's going to end very well for him on this occasion. In terms of power punching, I do firmly believe that Chris Eubank Jr. has more power in his punches. He's got more crack in those punches, and he's definitely got a solid left hook and a really big right hand as well. In comparison, I think Liam Smith isn't a one-punch knockout artist. He tends to overwhelm his opponents, hurt them to the body, and then break them down with body and head shots. So while fighters are covering up on the front or at the top, he'll swing these body shots into the bottom, and likewise when those hands drop, he'll come in with these savage hooks to try and finish off his opponent and land those damaging blows. Again, I think that ring generalship is going to come down to who wants it most on the night. I really feel like both men have got a lot of pride going into this fight, and nobody is going to want to be seen to be taking a backward step. However, saying that, I do think that Chris Eubank Jr. is going to start quicker. Liam Smith is notoriously a slow starter, but he uses those first couple of rounds to try and figure out his opponent, figure out what tactics they're going to be using, how that's going to actually impact his game plan. He makes the adjustments, and then he comes back with his deadly combination punching. So if I really look at the fight from an impartial perspective, I have to say that this is definitely a very competitive fight, and the stats really relate that. I was looking at the statistics earlier, and both men are very, very similar. Liam Smith, 177 centimetres tall. Chris Eubank Jr., 178 centimetres tall. The only real discrepancy when it comes to their personal statistics, it's not weight, it's reach. It's that long, long reach of Chris Eubank Jr. 185 centimetres in comparison to 175 for Liam. So it shows that Liam's a more compact fighter. He's got smaller arms, he's got less reach, and that means that if both these men are throwing at the same time, Chris Eubank Jr. is going to beat Liam Smith to the punch. So it leads me to believe that Chris Eubank Jr.'s tactics in this fight need to be to throw with Liam. Don't try and counter punch him. It's to roll with the punches and throw at the same time to try and catch Liam whilst he's in mid-flow. And that momentum, when you're throwing a punch and you get caught with one in the opposite direction, they're the types of punches that switch your lights off. Equally, I think Liam's biggest chance of actually catching Chris Eubank Jr. in this fight are to get close to him and fight inside the pocket. Chris Eubank is a messy fighter in the pocket. Yeah, he looks great on the pads, but when he's up close and personal, I really feel like Liam Smith will be able to dig to the body, take a step back, jab, and then come in with a nice right hand. 3-punch combinations are the way forward for Liam Smith if he really wants to put some actual hurt on Chris Eubank. Single punches are not going to be able to do it because he is durable. Chris Eubank Jr.'s chin is made out of granite. The boy is durable, the man can take a punch, and he knows how to fight. He's becoming more of a box fighter, and I don't really think that it suits his style. Roy Jones is trying to switch it up, he's trying to change Chris Eubank, and I feel like it's too late in the game, in the day, for them to do that. He's 33 years old. And at 33, let's be honest, you are no longer at the peak of your game, you're now on the way down, and that means it's very hard to teach an old dog new tricks. So, speed, again, I think Chris Eubank Jr. is a much quicker fighter, but one thing that I don't like about his speed is his speed of foot. I feel like he's very flat-footed, and only now with Roy Jones is he trying to get on the toes, bounce around and throw those sort of rhythmic punches out rather than really sitting on them and putting the power behind every single punch that he throws, which is what really got him to the IBO title, which I know isn't an official recognised world championship belt. None of the fighters recognise it, a lot of the fans don't recognise it, but it is still a recognised belt within a lot of the boxing community. So we have to mention the fact that, yes, Chris Eubank Jr. has been an IBO world champion. Overall, if I have to sort of sum up everything that I've said here, I am going to pick a winner. But before I do that, I really want to talk about the drama that has occurred at the press conference. Liam Beefy Smith essentially called out Chris Eubank Jr. for being gay. He tried to put it on his toes and say that, are you gay? And he was trying to manipulate a situation to make Chris Eubank feel awkward, saying, we've never seen you with a girl, you talk about wanting children, if you want a child you've got to be with a woman. And he was really trying to push those buttons. And especially now, in today's day and age, where there is no discrimination for sexual preference, to me it showed a weakness in Liam Smith, that he was really trying his best to get under Chris Eubank's skin. Now, is Chris Eubank gay? I don't know. If you know, drop me a comment in the comment section below. I'm sure there's a lot of people who would be interested to know, but at the end of all of this conversation, a fight's going to happen, and both of these men are fighting men, so your sexuality doesn't actually play a part in that. So for the fact of the matter, Liam Smith has mentioned this and tried to use it as a weapon. He's weaponized it to try and back Chris Eubank into a corner, make him feel under pressure. To me, if anything, it screams weakness from the Liam camp. I feel like the Smiths are really trying their best to get every little inch or percentage advantage over Chris Eubank Jr. And this was just another tactic, another tool for them to try and use. But I feel like it's backfired. Today, Chris Eubank came out into the press conference and he had his LGBT band on his arm, and he was trying to show solidarity to the LGBT community. And to me, that was a positive thing. Whether you're gay or whether you're straight, there's a place for you in boxing. Boxing is a fighting sport, it's a sport of discipline, and sexuality does not come into it. On the other hand, Chris Eubank Jr. tried to throw some insults at Liam Smith by saying, I've heard that you cheat on your wife. Now, to a married man with 2 daughters, I really feel like that did get under Liam's skin. Because the moment Chris Eubank said that, you could see the expression change on Liam's face, whereas when Liam was trying to throw out all these insults about homosexuality, it didn't affect Chris Eubank. He was steel-faced. Yeah, he took the piss out of his beard and his hairline, saying, did you go to Turkey for that? Has it all been like, tattooed on? But at the end of the day, this is what has made the fight now personal. Both men said in their post-weigh-in interviews that this is now a personal affair, and each man, for the opposite man, has made it that way by the insults that they've said and the build-up that's happened. So, for me, I think the charade of the press conference is now in the past, and what we need to focus on is tomorrow night's fight. I feel like both men are going to have a lot of pent-up energy, aggression, and nervousness. And me personally speaking, I think that is going to relate into this fight being very cagey for the first couple of rounds. I don't think either man is going to want to commit too much, because if they get caught with a shot early, it's an embarrassing stoppage. So, my official prediction for this fight, having taken everything into account and really thought about the situation and how it could pan out, my heart and my head are telling me 2 completely different things. My head is telling me that Liam Smith is going to win this fight on a split decision, because his boxing IQ and boxing fundamentals are going to see him through the 12 rounds, and Chris Eubank Jr. in his last few fights has looked like he's taken his foot off the gas and not been able to finish his opponents. But my heart on the opposite side is telling me that this could be a spectacular knockout victory for Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. has got ridiculous power, and if he resorts back to type, and if he really starts to trade with Liam and gets into those clinches, makes the space and comes back with 3-4 punch combinations, we all know that Liam Smith has been knocked out before. He was stopped by a body shot by Canelo Alvarez, and I really do think that he is vulnerable to the body if somebody really invests in that part. So I am split, head and heart, But if I have to pick one winner out of the two, I'm going to say that Chris Eubank Jr. is going to stop Liam Smith between round 7 and round 9 by a body shot, in a similar fashion to how Canelo Alvarez did it. Guys, I'm really interested to know what you think about this fight. I'm interested to know what you think about the insults around homosexuality and misogyny, i.e. cheating on your wife. And I want to know who you think is going to win on tomorrow's night's card in Manchester. I'm so excited for the fight. I'm going to do a post-fight breakdown in terms of how it all went, who was the most impressive on the night, and who I think is going to be challenging Canelo or Triple G moving forward. Either men lose this fight, it's back to the drawing board, and I honestly think whoever loses this fight will retire. Guys, it's Harry from Inside Boxing Brain, and you already know what it is. We'll be back for another video very, very soon. Boom, boom, boom! Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, and I look forward to being back again very soon. Peace.